Oh, it's already recording. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I've been wanting to make a video about some things that's been on my mind. I look at the culture in this country, which is really not a culture. It's a brainwashing way of life. We have been raised to be a consumer. And for the vast majority of Americans who live check to check, yes, 70% of Americans live check to check. I don't care if you make it 50, 60, 70, 80,000, you live in check to check. And the reason why, if you're poor, you look at TV, your kids go to school and they want Jordans, they want Polo, they want Michael Kors, they want this, they want that. And you broke as hell, and you are not teaching your kids the importance of family, of budgeting, understanding moves that you make now, how they affect you in the future. So all your kids know is, I want some sneakers, I want this purse, I want this, I want that. We're consumers. When you're working at McDonald's, you're buying Jordans, you're living in a bad neighborhood. If you're working at McDonald's, you are. Your kids are probably not going to a good school, and you're living check to check. Now, for those who got a little bit more gusto, more drive, more sense, learn to either go to college or create a business for themselves, or have found jobs that you can make decent money and you don't need a degree. And so now they're making 30, 40. So now you want to move out that neighborhood. Don't nobody want to live in a bad neighborhood. So now rent just went up because you got a bigger house. Electricity just went up. Water just went up. Gas just went up. So you're right back where you were. So then you find another job where now you're making 60, 70, 80 or whatever. Now you gotta get a bigger house, move to a nicer neighborhood. Although the neighborhood that you was living in when you was making 40,000 was okay. But this consumer attitude says that you must live in this kind of house. Now this part is not necessarily, it's a consumer attitude, but it's also the only way I could feel good about myself is to have these things. So people, when they speak of me, they will, oh, she lives in a beautiful house. Her kids dress so nice. Their hair is always done. Surface stuff. You know, when I was younger, I used to hear people say that someone was shitty clean. And I didn't understand what that meant. And basically what it means is like, you can have a business suit on, dressed to the nines, your makeup done right. If you're a man, your suspenders, you know, your square toes, nice suit. But if you get up from the toilet and you don't wipe your ass, you shitty clean. Because you clean on the outside, but you shitty on the inside. And then it's also, you got to get a better car to be able to continue to get to that job that's paying you that money to live in that house, send your kids to that school. So it's a cycle that just keeps repeating itself. So now, when you were working at McDonald's, you're living check to check, you're struggling. Then you went to making 30, 40 a year, and now you're still living check to check and struggling. You just have a little bit nicer stuff. Then when you moved up to 60, 70, 80, 90, or whatever your amount you moved up to, you still living check to check. Because now you in that $200,000, $300,000 home. Now you're driving your BMW, your Expedition, your whatever. So that car note is much higher, and now you're still living check to check. You're still struggling. You're still stressed out. Only thing that makes you feel a little better is when you look around. Much nicer neighborhood, much nicer couch, much nicer beds, you know. So there is some sense of relief, in a sense of I can send my kids outside and I don't have to worry about anything. I mean, of course, crime is everywhere, but certain neighborhoods, you know, crime is more prevalent, poverty stricken, and in neighborhoods where there's a little bit more money, crime is less. Most of the crime is home invasions. And the reason for that is when you're the nicer neighborhoods, you can't enjoy that house because you're at work all day. For most people to make 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, they're working overtime. 12 hours a day, 6 days a week, maybe 7. That's not living. It's a consumer mentality. We need to go back to growing our own food, period, because what we buy in the grocery store, that ain't food. We need to go back to the barter system. Like my grandmother, she grew everything. Man up the street had plum tree, peach tree, and she would trade off with him. Other 2 guys lived up the other way. One fished, one hunted. So she would trade with them, bartered with them. So when my grandmother went to the grocery store, she may have bought soda, because she had to have her Coca-Cola, bread. She had chicken, so she never had to buy chicken. Maybe milk, because she was no longer on a farm. She just had what she called a garden. It was basically just a nice sized plot of land that she grew food on. The guy allowed her to do it so he don't have to take care of the land. And again, barter. I mean, that's what we need to go back. Stop depending on this country, this government to actually do something for you. They're not. This government don't care about you. They care about getting rich and lining their pockets. And they're feeding us these horrible foods. They're giving us, our children, these immunizations. So it starts from the cradle to the grave. They're poisoning us. So therefore our minds are just done. We don't even realize that we're brainwashed. We don't realize the craziness that's going out here. It's like, what is our purpose in life? To work, stretch yourself out, run yourself into the ground. Now you got cancer, now you got diabetes, now you got high blood pressure. But you got that nice car. You got that BMW. You got that Mercedes. You living in that nice 4-bedroom house. But you stressed. Your lifestyle is unreal. Stress. We've got to change this. We have to stop allowing our children to make us feel guilty and buying them joy. And I don't knock nothing against Michael Jordan. He's a businessman. He's a typical American in that consumer capitalistic attitude. He's trying to make a buck. But the average person, if you make $50,000 a year and you have kids, you can't afford no Jordans. You can't afford them. You can buy them, but you really can't afford them. We need to teach our kids about family, about sharing, about not being so selfish, working hard, having a good work ethic. You know, those are the legacies that we need to. Everybody, all of a sudden, a legacy has become money. Money is not a legacy. It can be, but a legacy is something that you have left to your children that benefits them. Me leaving my kids $100,000 from a life insurance or $200,000 or whatever, yeah, they're okay, but if they're young, they're gonna blow it. I mean, come on. How many people young spending money wisely? But if you teach them how to make their money, not to always try to keep up with the Joneses. If you teach it, that's legacy. Not, oh, just go out there, work, never spend any time with your family and make money. That's no way of living. And when people ask me, why do I want to leave this country? I want to live. I just don't want to exist anymore. Because that's all we do in this country. We exist. There's no life, no real life. You get a piece of it here, a piece of it there. But most of our life is work for the vast majority. We need to get back to the way we used to be, community and values. Women need to stop thinking that you're empowering yourself by letting men pass you around like a dirty piece of tissue that they wipe their ass with. That's not empowerment because you chose to be a whore. At the end of the day, you're still a whore. That's not empowerment. That's stupidity. That's a way to try to justify what you're doing is by coming up with something stupid like, I'm empowering myself. We need to get back to life.